What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And if you've been a subscriber for a while, you'll probably recognize this car. This is a 91 Accord. We've done 3 or 4 videos on this already, but what we're going to be doing to it today is we're actually going to be doing a complete front end rebuild: struts, ball joint, control arms, upper and lower, and sway bar end link. We've already done the inner and outer tie rods. I'll probably put a link somewhere around in there to that, but let me gather up my tools and I'll show you part numbers and everything as we go along. Okay, first thing I'm going to start off doing is I'm actually going to take the axle nut off on this. This one is a 36 millimeter. Just make sure that it pushes back on there. Then after that, what we're going to do is go ahead and I'm going to disconnect the brake caliper and the brake lines from the strut. And I don't know how well y'all can see this, but right here, that one didn't have a bolt in it. The other side didn't either. And I may see if I can find a bolt to put back in it, but it seems like it was doing okay. I don't know who changed these struts last, so, but we are doing struts now. We'll be taking all this off. So this car used to be mine, and then I sold it to my buddy's son for like $800, and I kind of did it as a graduation present for him too. So David, if you're watching, hope you enjoy the video. And this guy's like my brother, really. He's one of those super nice guys, do anything for you. Love the guy to death, like seriously. Alright, got these loose. So the one on the strut is a 12, the 2 on the knuckle or spindle, whichever you want to call it, is a 10 millimeter. And now to take the calipers off, I believe it's a 17. Yeah. Oh, didn't mean to hit y'all. Just kind of got y'all in a bad location, to be honest. Caliper bolts are tight. I'm the one that did them last though. Yeah, just so long. The bolts are the sliders on this one. There's one of them. The other one's right there. No, y'all didn't see that bottom one come out. I didn't have you in the best location to see that one, but we got the top one anyway. And I got the car low enough that I can just set the caliper on the ground and it doesn't pull on the hose. Alright, next thing we're going to do is I'm actually going to take this right here out, and we're going to break the nut for the upper control arm, and then we're going to do the same for the lower. For the lower. And the lower one is, let me see if I can show it to y'all. Hold on, let me get this cotter pin out. The lower one is right here. But we're going to be changing that ball joint anyway. So on this upper one, there is a cover on it. The cover's just held on with 2 10 millimeters. There's that. And this is kind of what your cover looks like right there. is a cotter pin was way too small for that. That's 17. Yeah. Or 18. I got 18 on this one. Catching on about every other thread. Looks like the bottom one is a 19 on mine. It was pretty tight on there. I'm gonna go over all the torque specs on this stuff too, everybody. We're gonna use this ball joint separator on the top. And we're going to use it for the bottom as well. But before I do that, I may actually take the tie rod off. My tie rod is a 17. Should have done that before I took the top control arm off. It'll be alright. So we're going to keep that nut because we're going to have to reuse it. Alright. I'll move y'all back some. As a fair warning, this is probably going to pop pretty loud. This one's gonna be tight. I knew that was gonna happen. Alright, now we should be able to lift the knuckle out of here. And there we go. I'll put a link to this tool right here, because this tool does come in handy and I love it. It beats using a hammer and beating everything, you know. But now we have that. I'm gonna go ahead and take the strut and the fork off. If I remember correctly, these are 17s as well. Get that out of the way. I thread the nut back onto it just so I know which one it goes on. Now at this point I'm going to go ahead and go up top, and we're going to take the upper control arm and the strut bolts off. I'll take y'all up there and show y'all that. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're actually going to move this box right there, and just a couple 10mm, because one of your control arm bolts is under it. This is your fuse box. It's got some relays and stuff in it for fuses. So right here is one of your control arm bolts. Here's the other one, and then you got 3 bolts right here to hold your strut in. And the ones for the control arm, they are 17, and I believe the ones for your struts are 14. And these right here are double nutted. And the nuts that come with the new control arms, I do not care for them, so I'm going to reuse the ones that I have. You can reach underneath and grab your control arm now. But we got the nuts off the strut up top. Come on. All right. And there we go. That is out of there. Alright, so now that we have the strut out of the way, what we're going to do is we're going to take off this strut brace support bar right here, the sway bar end link, and then the lower control arm. And these two bolts are 17s. The lower control arm back here bolt is a 17, and I believe these are 12s. So I'm going to go ahead and take this stuff off, and then once I get it off, I'll bring y'all back, because it'd just be kind of repetitive just taking bolts out, and I know that'd be boring for everybody. Alright, we got the lower control arm out. It is right here. Here's the bolt, and I just want to let everybody know, so the bolt on this side is really tight to get out. You're going to have to kind of, so it goes in like this, you'll have to kind of twist it, like push the lower control arm towards the back of the car while you pull this bolt out, and then once you get it as far as you can out, twist it down a little bit and you can pull it down from the bottom, so it comes out down on the bottom, up and over. Yeah, it's because it's so close to the transmission that it hits if you try to pull it straight out this way, which is a bad idea. I mean, bad design, because it has a kick out on the transmission that comes at about a 45-degree angle, and I don't understand why they did it like that, but you know, they have their reasons. So we got all this, and for anybody who's asking why we're not replacing the bushing on this piece right here on the front, I looked at them and they actually look pretty good, and they got little hairline cracks around the edge, but that's about it. So we should be good on that. See if I have a bolt for this that I can put that back on the new one. If not, I mean, it's been like that God knows how long, so we'll keep it if we can't find a bolt that fits it. So what we're going to do now is take the knuckle over, and we're going to take the ball joint out of it. So here's where the ball joint is. This is the lower one right here. There's a snap ring right here on the top. I don't know how well y'all can see that, but we do have some snap ring pliers right here. See if we can get in there and get it. Come on, get down in there. Stuck in the back side of it now. Let me get a screwdriver to get behind it. Boy, I figured it's not going to come out. There it goes. So we had to bend it all up to get it out. Now, you can use a ball joint press to get this out, but most of the time you can use a hammer and it should come right out. You have to hit it probably a few times, but it should knock right out. Yep. Just like that, then hammer right out. I'm going to Scotch-Brite this up real quick to get a lot of this dirt and stuff off, and then we'll press in the new one with a ball joint press, and I'll show you exactly how we do that.